Hi, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com again, and I'm continuing the series now with the suit of cups of the two different Circus decks that we're comparing this week. The LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot and the Tarot of the Zirkus Magi. And the creators and the information on each of these decks is provided below. Now with the Ace of Cups, we have on the left the traditional Ace of Cups depicted by a hand being projected with a cup. And the cup has water sloshing around in it. And I guess the cup gives us a sense that there's something exciting. And it's not a steady cup. It's a cup where you never know what's going to happen. On the tent is written a sign to the circus and entrance. So you get a sense that there's an adventure is about to begin. To the right, with the Circus Magi, we have the Ace of Buckets with the keyword of conception. And the rather large bucket of water is going to capture the jumping horse and lady. I don't know exactly what the idea for conception is in this picture. To be honest with you, it does have the upside down M, which is apparent in other Ace of Cups renditions, particularly the Rider-Waite-Smith. Here we have the Two of Cups depicted on the left with a pair who have to not necessarily be in love, but have to have a great amount of regard, respect, and trust in one another to pull off this trick. Although there is a net beneath them, there is still a high level of risk involved. All eyes are on them to see how they perform. And if you look carefully at the gentleman's legs, they don't seem convincingly twisted around the rope of the swing. So, I'm not really sure how it's all going to turn out for them. But nevertheless, they are in complete harmony with one another. They have to be to even attempt to try this trick. They have to have confidence in one another. So there's a definite partnership of trust and love there, which is a theme of the Suit of Cups. The Two of Buckets to the right is, the key word here is harmony. And we have what appears to be a young girl hugging her elephant friend. They seem to be very contented, and they have a level of, I guess, affection for one another. The lion, I keep calling him a lion. The elephant has either a rose or a bird on the tip of his trunk, and it's a rather happy scene of two individuals who, are happy and have great amount of affection for one another. And the Three of Cups brings us to the left, three very accomplished women who have, again, absolute confidence in the horse that they're riding on. And the horse is very agile and skillful as well. And so between the four of them, there is a great level of cooperation between them, because they do not appear to be at risk. They appear to be very confident and having a lot of fun and celebrating what they're doing. Now the Three of Buckets to the right, the key word here is confluence. They appear to be three fellas who are imbibing a bit. Maybe they're sharing their tales of the day. Interestingly, there's an abundance of fruit and vegetables, so maybe they're going to have a feast and celebrate a successful day. I don't know. There's also a puppy in there somewhere in the gentleman's jacket. Here we have the Four of Cups and the Four of Buckets. The Four of Buckets, the key word is blinders, and we have a clear reference to Buster Keaton, the great clown of the silent film era. And the woman behind him carrying a bucket I do not recognize if she is a particular individual. She looks very content and very happy. She's offering him a fourth bucket, but he doesn't even know about it. He's not looking at her, and he has no interest in what she's offering. He looks melancholy, as Buster Keaton very often did look. To the left, we have an acrobat who is twisted up in knots. He has 3 cups, and he's not in the least bit interested in the one being offered to him. He doesn't seem to be interested anytime soon because he is otherwise occupied in deep thought. On the right, the 5 of buckets, we have another reference to a king of the silent film era. We have Charlie Chaplin posed as one of the clowns. In fact, you can see a sign behind him clearly acknowledging his presence. And no clown can make a person cry as well as Chaplin could when he was a clown. Here, I think 3 of the buckets rather are empty or spilling out. 2 buckets remain, but he is deep in remorse, regret. The key word here is regret. And his facial expression really does tip us off to the level of sorrow that he feels. To the left, the clown is, not as poetic as the 5 of buckets is, but clearly he's a clown who has made a mistake. Maybe he was balancing something and it didn't go the way he wanted to, and he's kind of bummed out. Maybe he didn't do a great job. He has 2 cups remaining, and there's no reason why he couldn't try again, but he's more focused on his shortcomings than he is on focusing on what he continues to have. And here we have the 6 of cups and the 6 of buckets. The 6 of cups on the left is a bit familiar, although the boy handing the girl a gift has been substituted by a clown handing the girl a full cup, a cup full of flowers or goodies or trinkets or whatever. I think we get the gist that it's the stuff that childhood memories are made of, Going to the circus looms large in many of our minds as an event from childhood. The 6 of buckets, the key word here is nostalgia. I guess remembering the good times, and we have here the very tall man and the very short lady to get that idea across, although he does not appear to be handing her any object or gesture. There are an interesting pair here. So to the right, with the 7 of buckets, I really love this depiction of the 7 of cups. The key word here is allure, and surely all these posters are alluring or trying to attract the attention of the youngster to go see their show. But as is the case with, when people post posters on top of posters on top of posters, what happens is that you can't get a clear view of any of them. And so you are looking at the posters, but you're not really maybe getting a full glimpse of any of them, But nonetheless, it's the idea that you have lots and lots of choices, and which one do you pick? And to the left, we very clearly see the reference almost identical to the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, where we have the clown with many fantasies or many choices before him. There's only one right choice, but at the moment he can't tell what it is either. Now the 8 of Cups is another card that is sort of similar to the 5 of Cups in a way. We have someone who is turning their back or not really taking note of what remains for them. In the card to the left, the gentleman who clearly has the spotlight on him, so he must be in the process of a trick or some type of acrobatic event. We have 6 cups that are neatly stacked, and then the last 2, one is toppled over on the top and one is on the ground. So maybe he was engaged in some type of activity and he was not successful with it, and he kind of messed up, and he's kind of dejected, by the experience, sort of similar to the Nine of Swords from the other suit, the same deck from the other suit, where the person, the performer, made a mistake. Here, this individual is like walking away. He's not interested in trying again. He's like, whatever, dudes, I'll be back tomorrow, I guess. But for now, he's just like disgusted and can't be bothered. The Eight of Buckets, the code there, the keyword there is all out and over. It must be the end of the day. The lion is done. He either drank all his water. Those buckets are empty. They're all upright, but they're all empty. And that's my take on that one. Here we have the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Buckets. In each one of these cards, although they are described in very different terms, they appears to be a very satisfied individual who has done a really great job with their performance. To the left, the woman is balancing on the elephant. The elephant is a partner in this event, and the elephant looks rather pleased as well. They together have done whatever they do with 9 cups still standing perfectly straight on the back of the elephant. And so there is a great sense of accomplishment and a thrill that they did a good job. The Nine of Buckets is the lion tamer, perhaps, surrounded by his lions. And the success there is that he's still alive. They have not eaten him up. And so there's a great sense, well, the key word here is security. So, that is a sense of trust, that they trust one another, perhaps, and also satisfaction that they were successful in what they were attempting to do despite the risk and despite the odds against them. And here we have the Ten of Cups. Although I don't think it's a rainbow, it's a ring, but we see what appears to be a similar form of a rainbow that the Rider-Waite-Smith deck would have, with 10 perfectly matched up and lined cups with a dog in each one of them. The man and the woman are very happy. They're showing it. Maybe it's the end of the show, and so they're congratulating themselves with the audience, and they're presenting themselves. The clowns are happy, and everybody did a good job, and they're very pleased with their applause. The Ten of Buckets shows a different way of presenting the idea of contentment. Here we have a presumably husband and wife team, circus performers, and they have 2 children. They have a baby in the carriage, and if you notice, there's a little girl between them. And the little girl may be the individual who was hugging the elephant. She may be part of their act. Clearly the elephant is here, so maybe she was one of the performers with the elephant, which explains why she has a very close relationship with him. When I think of circus people, it's I don't know if they're necessarily happy, but the circus is in their blood, and it's home. And this is a very interesting, I think, take on the idea of 10 of Cups. Now, whenever I see this particular page of cups, I always think of Burt Lancaster in his circus performances in the movies. Be still my heart. And how we enter with the cups, with the pages, we enter into the court cards of the suit of cups. To the right, you'll notice that the bucket bill poster is not much different than the Blades bill poster. They still have the same function of putting up posters, so they both, herald the idea that, a message that the circus is coming. So they both communicate. That the circus is coming. The only difference between each of the bill posters is really the suit that's represented in this case by a bucket with fish. And to the left, my Burt Lancaster friend is quite a different representation of cups than I've thought of with the court cards of the cups. Here we have a very athletic and very active page. Maybe one I would normally associate with, maybe like fire, with wands. But I think it's very interesting. He's skillful. And, I guess there's definitely a certain mastery, and maybe in being able to control your body so well, it is a type of poetry. Again, the Knight of Cups on the left, the LeGrande, Circus, and Sideshow tarot, presents the court cards of the cup suit in a very different way than I normally would think of them. And here, our knight is not even on a horse. He's in midair. He's very animated, and he's got a trick to do. He doesn't look worried. He looks like he has a high level of confidence in his skill. But he is a most unusual Knight of Cups. To the right, again, the tarot of the Zirkus Magi has a woman knight, and I'm sure it's because it's an attempt to balance the court figures, two male and two female. She is dressed like a cowboy, a cowgirl. I don't know, maybe it's a reference to Roy Rogers' wife, Dale Evans. Wasn't Dale Evans Roy Rogers' wife? I think so. She's in, a desert oasis. There's, a body of water, a large body of water behind her. And the thought that she's in a desert someplace with the tents of the circus in the distance. And yet there's still a curtain up here. Both of these cards are sort of curious. Well, here the Queen of Buckets, the Duchess of Buckets, is much more traditional in representation of the Queen of Cups than the Queen of Cups on the left. The Duchess of Buckets is she's nestled securely in the trunk of an elephant. She's very content. The elephant is too. The elephant probably respects her a great deal. She has her chalice in her hand and the crown on her head. So she is a woman of prestige. The Queen of Cups on the left, on the other hand, is a very active woman. She is also a risk taker, which is not something I usually associate with the Queen of Cups. She also has a high level of confidence, and she looks like she's having a great deal of fun. And finally, we have the last card in the suit of cups. We have the King of Cups on the left. Again, a trapeze, a flying artist on the trapeze, who appears to be either about to descend or has descended, and I just can't make out the ground. But the spotlight is on him, and he did a great job. He is truly masterful in what he does. And he's rather pleased with himself. The Governor of Buckets, on the other hand, is quite a peculiar fellow. He's got a very interesting musical apparatus there, which I guess, depicts the traditional thought of the King of Cups as a, artistic, creative type. This is kind of an extreme artistic, creative kind of guy, but to each his own, right? And there we have the suit of cups comparison between the LeGrande, Circus, and Sideshow Tarot and the Tarot of the Zirkus Magi. I'm Marilyn from TarotClarity.com, and I will finish the series with the wands and the coins the day after tomorrow, because tomorrow I have a very busy schedule. But it's been fun presenting these 3 videos today, and I look forward to next time, and I hope you do too. Bye.